Your income went up. Your savings didn't. That is not a cash flow problem. That is a trap. And the trap doesn't announce itself. It arrives wearing the face of a raise, a bonus, a promotion, a good year in the market. It feels like progress. It is the opposite. Most people in this audience are earning more than they ever did in the country they came from. Some of you have crossed into six figures. Some of you are investing. Some of you own property. And if I asked you right now whether your wealth is growing, you would probably say yes. But I am going to ask you a different question. Is your net worth growing as fast as your income? Or are you standing on a treadmill, working harder every year, going nowhere? Today, we are going through 10 traps that attack your wealth specifically when it starts to grow. Not when you are struggling. After you have started winning. These traps are more dangerous than being broke because you cannot see them coming. Here is the number that should be keeping you up at night. According to Statistics Canada's 2023 Survey of Financial Security, recent immigrant families have a median net worth that is $161,000 lower than Canadian-born families at the same age. That gap was $86,000 in 2016. It has nearly doubled in 7 years. But here is what that data also says, and this part almost never gets reported. Established immigrant families, those who have been here 20 or more years, now have higher median wealth than comparable Canadian-born households. So the gap is not permanent. It is not racial. It is not structural in a way that cannot be changed. It is behavioral. And behavior can be corrected. The immigrants who close the gap are not smarter than you. They are not luckier than you. They learned at some point to stop running Canadian money through home country logic. Today, I'm giving you the 10 places where that logic destroys wealth the fastest. Before we get into the 10 traps, 3 numbers that put this in context. Statistics Canada reports that the top 20% of Canadian households hold nearly 68% of this country's total net worth, averaging $3.4 million per household. The bottom 40% of households hold less than 3%, averaging just over $70,000. That gap is not closing on its own. It widens when people with growing income make wealth-destroying decisions during the exact period when they have the most to gain. Second number. A 2025 study by the firm My Choice found that Canadian households are underinsured by an average of 14.5%. In Ontario, the average household needs close to $800,000 in life insurance coverage, but carries only around $550,000. That is a 30% shortfall. More on why that matters in Trap 10. Third number. According to a 2023 LIMRA study, 8.4 million Canadian adults, nearly 1 in 3, are living with a life insurance coverage gap. And 44% of those households say their family would face financial hardship within 6 months if the primary earner died unexpectedly. I'm telling you these numbers because the traps we are about to discuss are not theoretical risks. They are documented wealth killers. Let's name them. I want to tell you about 3 moments in my own life because these are not abstract concepts. I lived 3 of these traps before I understood what they were. The first one was lifestyle creep. When I was earning a 5-figure salary in my early career, I was spending like the money was a reward. Vacations overseas every year. No savings for the rainy season. Not a single conversation with myself about where this was going. I was earning, spending, and calling it living. I had no idea that every dollar I failed to put to work in those years was a dollar I would spend the next decade trying to recover. The second one was overconfidence. When I started investing and the market was doing well, I thought I had figured something out. The market went up, I felt like a genius. Then volatility arrived and humbled me fast. I had confused a bull market for personal skill. That is one of the most expensive mistakes an investor can make, and I made it. The third one, and this one hit the hardest, was the tax system. In our early years here in Canada, my wife was working 2 jobs. We had no idea how the Canadian tax system actually worked. We did not know about TFSA accounts, RRSP room, income splitting, none of it. When tax season came, we owed. Not because we had done anything wrong, because we were running Canadian income through home country financial logic. In many of the countries our viewers come from, taxes are simpler, or wages are lower, or both. You do not encounter a marginal rate system, a benefit clawback, or a registered account until you arrive here and it bites you. Those 3 moments built this video. Trap 1. The lifestyle escalator. This is the trap I described from my own early career. As income rises, spending rises to match it and then exceed it. In Canada, this is accelerated by easy credit. New arrivals here are surprised how quickly they can access a credit card with a $5,000 limit, then 10, then 20. The spending platform expands and the savings rate stays flat. The fix is what I call the pay yourself first rule. Before you adjust your lifestyle to a new income, direct a fixed percentage, at minimum 10%, to a registered account before you see it. Set the transfer to happen on payday. The goal is to make saving automatic and spending deliberate, not the other way around. Trap 2. The tax blind spot. In many home countries, your employer handles your tax, and that is the end of it. Canada does not work that way. If you have multiple income sources, a side business, rental income, a spouse working multiple jobs, or income from a previous country in the same year, your tax situation gets complicated fast. The fix is proactive. File correctly every year. Understand your marginal rate. Use your TFSA and RRSP to reduce taxable income where it makes sense. If your household situation is even slightly complex, a Canadian accountant is not a luxury. It is cheaper than the bill you will get for not having one. Trap 3. The empty shield account. Your TFSA is not a savings account with a nice name. It is a tax shield. Any investment growth inside that account, dividends, capital gains, interest, is completely tax-free on withdrawal. A newcomer who arrives at age 30 and ignores their TFSA for 10 years may have over $70,000 in contribution room sitting untouched. That is not a mistake. That is a 10-year gift you returned unopened. The fix is simple. Open the account. Put it in a low-cost index fund, not a savings account. Let the room work. For 2026, the annual limit is $7,000. Do not let it sit empty while you pay tax on investment returns held elsewhere. Trap 4. The overconfidence spike. When markets are good, new investors often confuse market performance with personal skill. This is called attribution bias. You did not beat the market. The market lifted your boat. Then volatility arrives and people panic sell at the bottom, locking in real losses. The fix is a written investment policy statement, even a simple one. Before you invest, write down your goal, your timeline, and the maximum loss percentage you can tolerate without selling. Tape it to your desk. When the market drops 30% in a quarter, and it will at some point, read that statement before you touch anything. Trap 5. The concentration bet. Many immigrants who build wealth tend to concentrate it. One property. One employer's stock. One sector. Often real estate, because property is how wealth is understood in many home countries. Statistics Canada's data on immigrant families confirms this pattern. Immigrant households hold a greater share of their wealth in housing than Canadian-born households. That is not wrong on its own. But if your home equity represents 80 or 90% of your net worth, and the housing market corrects, your financial life corrects with it. The fix is intentional diversification, spreading wealth across registered accounts, index funds, real estate, and liquid savings so that no single asset class can erase your progress. Trap 6. The complexity trap. As wealth grows, some investors start chasing complexity. They buy individual stocks. They layer on options. They follow tips from community members in WhatsApp groups. The portfolio becomes a collection of speculative bets held together by hope. Research consistently shows that most active traders underperform a simple index fund over 10 years, net of fees. The fix here is boring on purpose. A 3-fund portfolio of low-cost Canadian, US, and international index funds inside a TFSA and RRSP beats most complexity over time. Boring wins. Trap 7. The liquidity illusion. This trap catches people who are asset-rich and cash-poor. They own property. They have RRSPs. On paper, the net worth looks good. But when the car needs replacing, when a family emergency happens, when an unexpected expense arrives, there is nothing liquid. And the only option is debt at high interest. The fix is maintaining a cash reserve of 3 to 6 months of essential expenses in a high-interest savings account, separate from your investment accounts. Do not touch it unless it is a genuine emergency. In Canada, some digital banks and credit unions offer rates significantly above the big banks. Your emergency fund should, at minimum, be earning something. Trap 8. The time forgetting trap. This one is cultural. In many communities our viewers come from, time is offered freely. You fix your cousin's car. You help your friend move for free all weekend. You take the extra shift because the community expects it. But your time in Canada has a market value. If your hourly earning potential is $40, every hour you give away is $40 you cannot invest. That is not a reason to abandon community. That is a reason to be intentional about where your time goes and to make sure your most productive hours go to building your own financial position first. Trap 9. The early retirement delay. Many newcomers arrive in their late 20s or early 30s and start their Canadian financial life from zero. RRSP room begins accumulating only from Canadian earned income. Pension from a previous country often does not transfer. The cost of starting late is compounding in reverse. Every year you delay investing for retirement costs you roughly double the principal due to compound growth. If you are in your 30s and your RRSP is empty, that is not a future problem. That is a present emergency that will arrive at 65. The fix is to start today. Even small contributions matter. Automate them. Use your RRSP deduction to reduce taxable income, especially in high-income years. Consider a spousal RRSP if one partner earns significantly more. This is a Canadian tool designed for exactly that situation. Trap 10. The insurance gap. You have worked hard to build what you have. You have property, savings, growing income, maybe children in school. If you died tomorrow, would your family keep the house? Would your children's future survive? A 2023 LIMRA study found that 44% of Canadian households without adequate insurance would face financial hardship within 6 months of losing the primary earner. 8.4 million Canadian adults are living with a coverage gap right now. In many home countries, insurance is seen as gambling or distrusting God or just an unnecessary expense. That cultural logic is quietly the most dangerous belief a growing immigrant household can hold. The fix is a term life insurance policy sized to replace your income for 10 years and cover your outstanding debts, at minimum. In Canada, term life for a healthy person in their 30s is less expensive than most people assume. Review your coverage whenever your income, debt, or family situation changes. Do not wait until it is too late to fix it. Wealth in Canada does not fail because people stop working hard. It fails because people keep applying a financial operating system built for a country they no longer live in. If one trap in this video names something you recognized in yourself, that recognition is the most valuable thing you will do for your finances this week. Recognition without action is worthless. Act on it. If this channel is new to you, subscribe. Every week we take one piece of the Canadian financial system and explain it the way it should have been explained to you when you arrived. Next week, we are going inside the TFSA and showing you exactly why holding cash in it is one of the quietest wealth-destroying mistakes in this country. The traps do not disappear when you know about them. They disappear when you build systems that make falling into them impossible.